Excited, nervous, happy, and fearful are all ways to describe my mixed feelings about this guy. This is the Transformer Studio Series 86 Sludge. And Sludge is my favorite Dinobot. This was the one of them all that I really couldn't wait for, but I've also heard innumerable horror stories about terrible QC and a yellowing issue on this guy. How did my copy fare? Well, we're about to find out in the latest GotBot True review. Hey one, hey all. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe while you're at line of my baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. And I'll let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through spring. Or of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this, like I said, is Sludge. First things first, detest this. Not able to see what I'm buying. Don't like that. Not a fan. I love the art, but not a fan of that. We'll talk about the box a little bit later. I have been very nervous because so far I've only heard of one copy that one person had be good. And I've only, I guess I've kind of known a second one that someone sort of fixed. They tightened the screws, though I think the screws came loose again. What about my copy? Did I suffer the QC a lot of people did, or did I luck out? Well, without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy? Boy, oh boy, I've been both excited and nervous for this one. Sludge is my favorite Transformer. And of course, we all know the massive QC issues. I'm going to score this guy as we go, but of course there will be caveats because there's so much variation with him, right? This is going to be a little bit of a difficult one. Of course, before we get to him, we got to do the packaging first. And like, I like it and I don't like it. I like the artwork. I don't like that you can't see the product. I got this from GameStop. They were good enough to let me look to make sure that everything was there before I left. I'm not buying something that I can't see. I'm not doing it. Not for this. Because here's the thing. I don't trust the company enough to have QC and to have everything included and assembled correctly. Like, I don't trust them. Therefore, I can't buy their stuff sight unseen. You know what I mean? But I do like the artwork. I'll give credit where credit is due. It's beautiful artwork. Nice close-up over here of Sludge's face. Same over here, and you can see like he's breathing a bit of, I'll say, laser fire. Back here, we learned that the background is going to be in the like pit of judgment, and like, you know, Sludge is walking in there and beating it all down. Here we have both of the product images. Here we have instructions. They're not great, I gotta be honest. Here's that Pit of Judgment diorama section again. I think it looks really cool. It's a nice background. Maybe slightly too short for this guy in robot mode. I think it would fit him great in dino mode. But, you know, it is what it is. If you are able to use these, wonderful. Our boy comes with his blaster cast in black, painted in gold. On the other side of the blaster, we have two rectangular tabs, and that will be for storage in dino mode. I'll also note that his head is detached in package, and you just kind of slide it in right here. It's very easy to attach the head, trust me. And here's our big boy next to the Black Mamba Voyager version. Not the deluxe Power of the Primes version. This is the Black Mamba Voyager version that I did do some custom paint work with, like some black on the edges there, Autobot symbol up here, like a few things, right? This is good. This is hefty. But to say that it looks the part as much as the Studio Series isn't quite right. Like, if this is a, say, in terms of look, right? If this is a 9, then this is a 9.75. And speaking of accuracy, the wings on this one are low. The wings on this one, while they can't move, seem to be up a little higher and seem to be, I don't know, a little better, I don't want to say proportioned, a little better positioned, I suppose. You know what? I use 9.75 as an arbitrary number, but I think for looks, he's 9.75. He's almost perfect. Not quite there, but almost perfect. Now, That being said, I'm going to point something else out that has been brought to my attention that I do find pretty troubling. I haven't noticed it with mine, but I know there have been reports of it. So the head I talked about, you'll notice that this seems like a warmer gray than the rest of the head and whatnot. Warm gray is what's known to turn yellow nowadays, and I've heard reports of this head section here turning yellow on I can't say several, but certainly on a few people's copies. I find that really, really troubling. It's like I said with G-Axis last Friday, I think that, you know, A, you got to make sure that this problem isn't happening for what you're charging, and B, you have to really be putting out top tier products for those prices. Top tier. This one, that's issue number one that comes with a caveat. So I'm saying 9.75, but that's assuming that we avoid the yellow. Good start. Let's get to the next controversial thing, which is the articulation for the guy. Now, I'm going to note this. I'm fortunate, and I was terrified. I've only heard of one copy of this guy having okay hips and knees. Though I did hear of another where the screws were tightened, but apparently that didn't quite work. So I was very nervous about mine. So I'm going to point this out now before I go through all of the articulation. Some people have said the wings are really loose. Mine aren't really loose, but they will come forward a little bit. It's not hard to get them to come forward. But I don't know if I'd really call them loose, but they could be frictioned slightly better. Getting the arm here out of the way. So my hips come out to the side and hold fine. So does the other one, both of them. I've tested both. If I get this out of the way and these front feet out of the way and bring it back, mine holds. Forward, holds. Knee, holds. My ankles and feet, they do not at all pop off. So I'm very, 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 very lucky. But that being said, while I'm extremely lucky, the tolerances on the hips and knees do feel slightly looser than they do, say, on Slug and Grimlock. So I get where just another couple of millimeters and you're going to have some real problems. And there have been people whose Sludge can't stand up. He's always falling over. If it's not the knees giving out, it's the hips giving out. Like I've heard a lot of pretty bad horror stories about it. So let's do the articulation. I'm going to give it my score, but I'm going to temper it with the caveat of the major QC issues. The head, it goes left, right, up, and not really down. The wings, they can move around. The arms can go all the way around if you get the wing out of the way. Bicep swivel, really tight on my copy. Elbow over 90 degrees, wrist swivel. So I think all of that is fine. Oh, and outward as you saw all the way. The head goes down on the back, the head can come straight forward, the neck can move, so that's really good. In dyno mode, the front legs can go forward and backward, but not a whole lot of movement there. And the rear legs are the arms, so they actually kind of retain a fairly significant amount of the articulation. The hips you saw out to the side, the knees, the thigh swivel, by the way, is also there. Waist on the guy, free-flowing waist, which surprises me. Ankle tilt, toe forward, heel forward and back. So like he kind of has everything that I could want him to have. Luckily my copy works quite well. So I'm going to say that for me, the articulation is a gain. A solid 9.5, 9.75. It's really, really good. But that's only because I have really good tolerances. If you have the knee or the hip issue, that 9.75 I gave, because of my good copy, automatically drops to about a 5. Like it'll have the articulation, but it's so loosey-goosey that it might as well not have it at all. You know, like if you can tolerance it right and do it right, then like don't do it. It's simple as that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So while I have a 9.75 and a 9.75, remember that's come with a very specific caveat, and that is that everything works the way it's supposed to. And that if you have issues with the yellowing, your score for his accuracy is going to drop. If you have issues with the tolerances at the hips and knees and the wings, your score for that is definitely going to drop. Before we do the transformation, here are the 3 Studio Series Dinobots that we have so far. The original 3, the first 3 that were made. And I'm happy with this. Like, I mean, I'm really happy with this. I thought I was happy with the Power of the Primes with the Black Mamba version, and they're great. They're wonderful, and there's an argument for just keeping those, to be honest with you. They're great value for money. But for that real kind of cartoon is king type of accuracy, man, oh man, I'm really, really happy with these three. And I look forward to the other two, to be honest with you. You'll also notice that our boy is able to hold his blaster just fine. It's unfortunate there wasn't a sword. Now, one of the other things that I had mentioned in several of the live streams is, hey, this guy doesn't come with like a wheelie or a Daniel type of offering to go along with him. So right away it looks like they're cutting out plastic content and making that leader class, you know, potentially smaller. But I reserve judgment, and I even said, like, you know, I'm going to keep a close eye on that. I'm going to reserve judgment. We will wait and see when this guy actually comes out what that verdict is. Well, a traditional leader has always been 325 grams. And the Grimlock came in at 328. The, I think it was 328. Maybe it was 333. Maybe it was 328 without wheelie and 333 with wheelie, something like that. And Slug, the same sort of thing, like right in that same ballpark with Grimlock. They're 328, 323, or sorry, 333, and I said, wow. I said, not only are they true blue leader, but they're a much bigger leader. Like, yeah, I get it. You upped the price, you gave me more plastic content. What about this guy? This guy clocks in at an incredible, a whopping 388 grams. You have significant more mass here. The price went up, and yes, you took away the little wheelie or Daniel thing, but man, you added more parts, and apparently this guy has the highest parts count of any of the Dinobots. You added parts, and you added mass. I understand. I can see where the extra cost is here. You charged me more, you gave me more. I get it. Makes perfect logical sense. It's just unfortunate that this guy has the tolerance issues he has. So far, for my personal copy, everything is going gangbusters with it. Let's see how the transformation goes. We're going to take that out of his hand, and I'm going to pick the arms out forward. It's just the easiest way to do it for now. And using the black elbow hinge, I'm basically going to click it up like this. I'm going to rotate that hand around, and I'm going to push it in, and I'm going to rotate at the bicep, and that's basically a rear leg done. Right, when we get to the rear legs anyway. Other side, same sort of thing. I angle that up, I turn at the bicep, I rotate the hand around, and I push it in. Beauty. I'm going to just leave that like that for now. The upper body is the easy part, by the way. It's the lower body that's that's the challenge. So with the lower body, we pick off the tail pieces. They're going to come off. And then we open out really the front. Yeah, the front of the leg all the way out to the side. The front of the leg all the way out to the side. And we also, I'm going to pick up those front legs there. And we turn the guy around at the waist. Beautiful. We take the toes and we bring them up. We take the toes and we bring them up. A lot of people have had those be very floppy and flimsy and not good. That's a bummer. I mean, there's no other way to say it. That's a bummer. Then we get to the lower legs, and this is where a lot of people start to have some troubles with this guy. So you're going to end up folding this up, but as you fold it up, you got to take this whole armature in here and slide it across so that this comes all the way up, and the leg will actually like fit in the space it's supposed to fit in. A lot of people forget that you got to move that hinge over. They start to fold it and they get here and it's like, why is that causing me problems? Because you didn't push that one hinge over. So you got all of that up. And yes, it seems a bit flimsy now because of just the way all of this is, right? But basically you want to really kind of just have your legs in like that, right? Yeah, it seems like a lot. Okay, then we bring this up over, and we bring the tail down first. Then we bring this up over. We bring the tail armature down first, and then we bring this up over. We fold out the gold, and we fold out the gold. Fantastic. Then we pick off the chest, and we really, you're going to have to probably get the arms here a little out of the way, but really what we're essentially doing is rotating the chest around, and we're going to bring it down. Now, when we bring it down, I should note this, by the way. When we bring it down, there's a couple of little notches there that go over, I think it's these notches here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it's supposed to go over those notches there. So the chest comes down over, and we'll end up pressing all that together in just a little bit. Let's get the upper body done first. Head goes in, and we pick off the like fin pieces, so to speak. A lot of people say that these come off as well. Fold out a leg and fold out a front leg and bring this up. When you bring this up, you have two rectangular notches there that go over two rectangular tabs, pegs, whatever you want to call it, right there. So I'm going to do that first. Then we bring this up like this. We kind of fold it in and then fold it down under, and then these two pieces here will finagle in and tab together. There's your upper body done. For the lower body, we take the arms and flip it down. We take the other arm and we flip it down. So far, so good. And now it's really just a matter of, you know, making sure that we tab everything in, that we get those tabbed together there, that we bring these up. Now, when you bring, before you kind of tab the tail and everything together, you got a little circular tab there that needs to go under this edge here. So I would suggest kind of doing that certainly on one side first, then bring up the other and get it in, and then that goes together. Then you can sort of press and solidify all of this together. Oh, like so. These go up. I'm just going to kind of solidify things a little bit, straighten that up and straighten that forward. I'm just going to solidify a few of the tabs and stuff, but basically, boom, here we have Sludge in his Dino mode. I also forgot to mention that in Dino mode, the neck here can move. It's a pretty tight joint though. So, I like this. I think that this is a very successful Sludge when you get it here. Again, I think the transformation is great. I really enjoy it. It's not perfect, but it's pretty darn close. I'm giving it a 9.75. To me, this is a 9.75. My copy is tremendous. But if your copy has, for example, the feet pieces fall off, if your copy has these pieces pop off, if your copy has any of the QC issues that I've talked about already, then again, this thing is going to end up being a failure. If you have a bad copy, this is easily like a 2 or a 3 or a 4 failure. You know what I mean? If you have a great copy, then it's done really well. If every single version of Sludge could work this well, I think so many people would be so much happier. That said, Starscream Wife doesn't like the little triangle kind of hole right there by the front. See if I can show it, by the front leg there. That stood out to her. She wasn't a fan of it. I never even noticed it. And some people have complained about the tail being a little too stubby. Maybe I'm a little forgiving with some of my scores because this is my favorite Dinobot, but I'm quite happy with them. It's too bad that down here is the way it is, but again, using those two tabs, we can tab the blaster in like here. I can't get it in there now because I'm not looking exactly where the two little tabs go, but it does go under there, and it's okay. The silver's where it should be, the gray's where it should be, the black's where it should be, the gold is where it should be. I think it's a slam dunk because, like I've said innumerable times in this review, I was lucky enough to get a good copy. 9.75 for me across the board, but I totally understand how if your copy isn't this good, it could easily be a 2, 3, 4, 5, some sort of an abysmal failure. And finally, to round things out here, we have the trio in Dino mode. I mean, come on, man. This looks spectacular. I really feel bad for each and every single person, each and every single collector out there whose sludge suffers from QC issues, because it ruins what is otherwise a tremendous experience. But it does also go to show just how crucially important consistent QC checks are. The issues with him, whether it was one batch or 100 batches, whether it was one offering or 100 offerings, for what's being asked to be invested and whatnot, it's unacceptable. I wish sincerely that every single person was able to have as positive of an experience with this guy as I've had. And I hope you have too. As it is for me, absolute win. Dino mode, great. Robot mode, great. But naturally, this is one of, if not the greatest example of your results may vary. Whoo, buddy, here I am and here he is, and I am real happy and real lucky. In terms of the look of the guy, it's undoubtedly sludge. Like, they nailed the look. I don't care what anybody says, they absolutely nailed the look. When it comes to the transformation, if things don't fall off, and I mean, I admit that I have heard of a lot of people who have had the feet fall off, they've had these silver panels here fall off, and then the looseness of the hips and knees have made the transformations very frustrating. There's a lot of people who didn't even do it on camera when they did their review because it was that bad. If everything works the way it's supposed to work, it's a really great transformation. A lot of moving parts. It is familiar to sludge, yet different at the same time, especially with the legs. So it all boils down to things working and being toleranced the way they should. The articulation, second to none, again, if everything works. It really has a great range. Again, mine has solid joints, luckily, but I know a lot of people don't. This is, to me, the epitome of an example of your mileage is going to vary, and the epitome of an example of why QC is so crucially important to be done, especially with modern day prices. If you want to charge more, then you know what, you got to give us more. I keep saying that consistently, right? In this case, for me, for the copy I have, everything works the way it should. That's checkbox one. He isn't only the mass of a liter, but he's the mass of a liter and much more. He's the parts count of a liter and much more. And he has a ton of paint. The silver and the gold and the black, most notably. Especially the silver and the gold. I mean, he has the mass, he has the part counts, he has the engineering, the interesting transformation. I get it. This is a case where I was charged more for a liter, but I see the value. I see all the extras. I see the value that was previously established and then some. You charged me more, but you gave me more. So I love the guy. For me personally, with my copy, I mean, he's a 9. I said 9.75. Even if I was being kind, let's say a 9, right? But I totally understand that if your copy has the QC issues or the problems or the yellowing issue around the neck, that all of that really destroys the enjoyment of this guy, and he's gonna fall to the lowest of low marks. 2, 3, 4, somewhere around there. I totally get it. Let me know what you think about sludge. Let me know what your copy was like. Are there other people out there who have had success stories with their sludge? I certainly hope so, and I hope that all of the batches that come now thereafter for fans still waiting to get theirs, that they're all taken care of and that you get the same joy out of your sludge that I get out of mine. I appreciate you coming by. Give me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel. Also, don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, each and every single one of you watching this, you do make a difference in the world, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.